Hello guys, I would like to welcome you to yet another episode of Adam Cannot Make Up His Mind and is going to talk about another different engine swap for his S13 drift car. As you can see in here, we've got a nice, tidy, and extremely reliable 4-cylinder. So why not switch to an even more reliable 8-cylinder? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Don't worry, you'll never see a V8 in this car. Ever, ever, ever. There will never be more than maybe 6 cylinders in this car. All jokes aside, this video is basically going to be explaining what is going on with this car's engine because there's been a lot of confusion out there. Also an update on the giveaway car because I've seen some confusion with that. But to be completely honest, this video also serves the purpose of me having another upload for you guys that isn't going to require a lot of time for me to film because I'm trying to put together a really special end of the year best of 2017 video. So I need to have extra time that I can dedicate to sourcing clips from like 300 plus videos. Before I explain what the current plans and status of this engine is, I'd like to go back and revisit the whole 2J thing because a lot of people still think that I'm putting that 3.4 liter 2J that me and Alberto built in this car. Yes, I'm sorry if you've already heard me explain this like 3 times, feel free to fast forward through this part, but I do realize that there is a lot of new people on this channel, which I really appreciate, and I want to make sure that they understand too. Basically, for reliability purposes and my frustration with the SR, I decided I was going to put a 2J in this car, but it escalated very quickly as Alberto likes to build ridiculous things, so it turned into a 3.4 liter JZ monster that's not going to make anywhere less than like 600 horsepower. And at the time I was still relatively new to drifting where I thought more power equaled more fun. But after my trip to Japan, I learned that a reliable drift car that is at the same power level as most of the people you're driving with is actually much more fun. So the perfect solution in my head was to keep this car SR as a reliable practice car and put the JZ in more of a pro level chassis that would be more of a competition car that would also give Alberto extra work because he needed that at the time. That wound up not working out and it wound up going to Enjuku because Alberto had his own channel. I explained that in a whole nother video and I don't really want to get into that right now. In addition to that, I wanted to leave on that summer trip where we went drifting for like 2 months straight, and I knew that there wouldn't be ample time to do a proper engine swap, and I had a perfectly fine working SR20, so I figured I would just use that car, and I did, and it's lasted, I was gonna say almost a year since we got the JZ, but I realized that after we built the JZ, I think that's when we actually built my SR. So in the time that we've been waiting to put the JZ in something, we actually rebuilt this engine, and now it's on the verge of death, which brings me to my next point. What are we gonna do with it? I changed my mind a lot, and it's not because I'm lying to you guys or I'm trying to like build hype or something. I just genuinely changed my mind a lot because I have a lot of different really smart, influential people in my life that tell me different things, and I just honestly need to figure it out for myself to figure out what I really want. 3.4 2J is out of the question for this car, so it was basically between throwing in like a stock 2J or stock 1J with a bigger single, kind of like what Trevor runs in his car, or keeping the SR. Ultimately, I honestly think I would be happiest if I had like Trevor's exact engine in this car, so like a stock 2J, Garrett 3582, around 400 wheel horsepower on stock ECU. But what really kept me away from doing a JZ was the added weight. I still haven't been able to get Nicole's car to feel like my SR does. It's a very almost near 50-50 weight distribution with the weight of an aluminum block 4-cylinder compared to an iron block 6-cylinder. It's much lighter to have an SR. Also creates a lot less heat, which was another concern of mine. Yes, it's possible to keep a JZ very cool, but I like to hot lap a lot. I'm in Florida, and of course a 4-cylinder aluminum block is gonna stay way cooler than a 6-cylinder iron block. The SR is very annoying. It does do a lot of quirky stuff, but I like it. It's my car. I feel like I've grown through drifting with an SR, and I feel like it makes this car for it to have an SR. Kind of like I feel like it would be wrong to paint this car any other color than cream. I feel like an SR needs to stay in it. I don't know if you guys will understand, but I kind of look at the SR like the little engine that could in drifting. It's funny because when I'm driving poorly, I can use the SR like as an excuse, and when I'm driving really well, I could be like, yeah, and it's an SR20. No, but like really, this is the perfect amount of power. Like the 350 wheel horsepower range is so good for driving with all the other cars at local events. You can pretty much drive any track in that 350 to 400 horsepower range depending on what your grip and weight and everything is of the car. I've accumulated backup parts for it. I have friends with a wide knowledge base, and I already have one in the car, so it's a lot easier to just make this SR better than it is to put an entirely new engine in the car. Yes, we put that 1J in Nicole's car in like 2 days, but I don't know, maybe I should go JZ. I don't know. So I like the sound. It's good power for me. It's simple. It's fun. You guys like the fact that it's an SR. It makes me feel super lit when I'm on the the door of an LS car. It's just JDM AF, bro. All jokes aside though, I think it is kind of cool since I have been trying to follow more of a like Japanese style route with the car in terms of kind of how it looks and how it's set up, that an SR really does fit in it. Believe it or not, JZ swaps are actually pretty uncommon in S chassis over in like Japan because not a lot of people have shops or access to garages. So most of the stuff you see over there is all like bolt-on parts and stuff that people can do pretty easily. Also another reason why you see so many bolt-in cages over there. So we rebuilt this motor less than a year ago. It has a ton of blow-by, it has leaky valve seals, it makes about 110 compression, it smokes, and it's down in power. So where did we go wrong when we built it? I don't know, but I can make a guess. So from talking to Injuku, it sounds like our biggest mistake was not going with oversized pistons. Now I didn't really know this, I don't really know anything about building engines, but it makes sense that with an older engine you would want to size up the piston and get the block properly machined and honed rather than just doing a light hone by hand and reusing stock size pistons. There's just a way better chance that with oversized pistons and properly machined block that you'll have a better ring seal and make more compression, which my motor has always been lacking. Another reason why I think my motor's always lacked low end is because of the fact I have Brian Crower 264 cams, and it's been brought to my attention that with these cams you need to have them properly degreed. I don't have adjustable cam gear, so you can't really fine tune them that much, and that adjustment probably would make quite a big difference. So if you haven't figured out from what I've already told you, on the next setup we're gonna go with adjustable cam gears. We're gonna go with 86.5mm oversized pistons, and this is where it gets fun. We're gonna swap out my turbo, which is currently a GTX 2863, for Garrett's new Gen 2 2860, which is basically the replacement for the 2863, but it flows a bit better, and I think it makes somewhere between 15 and 30% more power. With a proper compression motor, it should spool faster and it should have more top end power, which will be really fun. Again, not trying to make a lot of power, but of course, with a fresh rebuild, it'd be nice. I mean, I feel like my car is around like 320 right now. It should be closer to 350. I'm shooting for somewhere in the 350 to 400 between like pump gas and E85. I'm also going to switch to a top mount manifold, and although that does create problems with heat being so close to the brake master, I do have a heat shield. I can utilize a turbo blanket, and the nice thing is since I'm going V-band, it'll be very easy to service the turbo, change ARs. It'll sound cool, and best of all, I won't have any more issues with turbo gaskets going bad like you guys may have seen happen at the Grid Life event I went to. If you haven't noticed, I'm always about creating my car in a way that's going to last the longest without having to tinker with it at events and just being able to beat the absolute crap out of it without doing absolute anything. Isn't that everyone's dream? I hope it is. This top mount setup will obviously be externally gated as well, which will be really cool since I did have those issues with the internal gate kind of acting up at higher boost and potentially not letting my car build boost in higher RPM range. I also have a Power FC laying around from Nicole's car that has a map sensor instead of the MAF sensor, so I can get rid of that and convert the car over to a proper standalone setup. So if there's anything going wrong at the track, I can adjust for it. SRs also have a problem where one of the cylinders, I believe maybe cylinder number 4, doesn't get proper fuel and it kind of leans out. With a standalone, you can properly tune for that. While the engine's out, I'll probably clean up a lot of this wiring. A company sent me some really nice wiring stuff so I can put a distribution block down there and just clean everything up. I'm also gonna switch over to a top feed fuel rail as well as all new fuel lines so I can have E85 friendly stuff, because I want to run D-Schwerk's 1200cc injectors. Top feed allows you to go to a bigger injector without having the car act weird at lower power levels. So if you're running like a flex fuel setup where you're having E85 and pump gas, if I had like a 1200cc side feed, they probably wouldn't like the power levels lower. I'm also gonna be doing their fuel filter and a fuel pressure regulator that they make. And they have a really rad pump that they're gonna send me as well. Where it gets real fun though is when it comes to the transmission. Now I'm not gonna be doing all this at once because it would just make things too complicated and it's gonna take a little while to develop the kit. But Brett from Collins Performance Adapters is going to be helping me make the first CD09 kit for the SR where you don't have to machine the bell housing of the CD09. If you're not familiar with it, it is the transmission that comes out of 350Zs. I knew that a lot of people like them because they can handle power and they shift really nicely, but until I drove Caleb Quambeck's car, I did not realize the hype. His car shifted so easily with whatever shifter he had. I might actually buy his CD09 because I think he's selling it and going over to a dog box. But my main reason to switch over to the CD09 transmission is to avoid breaking any more SR transmissions, even though it only happened to me once. A lot of people have issues with breaking them. Also being able to shift a little bit faster because with my SR I kind of have to wait and it makes me kind of fall out of drift sometimes. But I think what'll be really cool about it is having the closer gear ratios, because the big issue with the SR Trans is the gap between first and second, and the gap between second and third is so large that my car would fall out of boost, even though it has a baby turbo. I don't know what's up with that. And then that would kind of be why I would fall behind a lot of times when I was following on the straight. So I'm excited for that, but that'll probably be like a little later down the road. My actual timeline for this car is pretty soon. My goal is to get the engine out on like maybe New Year's Day, and then have it disassembled, bring it to a machine shop, hopefully get it all back together and get it tuned by the 10th, because Alberto is going on a trip and I want to try to do it while he's around in case anything goes wrong. He's obviously going to be helping me with the disassembly and assembly of the engine. Thought it would be cool to kind of have him get involved rather than bringing the SR to a shop to have it built. It's also really fun just hanging out with him and doing motor stuff. But yeah, go watch more Alberto videos and get him hyped up. He also had a big situation where he like isn't allowed to work at his car anymore because he has like a jerky old neighbor. So he has a whole video discussing that if you're interested in learning more. I'll put like the link in the description or something. I'm excited to go visit Martin at RS Enthalpy. It's been a while since I went out to Tampa and visited him over there. He thinks the car will definitely be good for like 400, no problem on E85, which would rip. I don't know, I'm super stoked. I'm so excited. This car is gonna be great. It's still gonna be SR. It's gonna be more responsive. It's gonna have more power, and hopefully I'm happy with it. Guys, don't be like Adam. Don't get stuck in the SR black hole. It's not fun, okay? Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. She got out, I'm stuck. All right, I think that's enough engine talk, and hopefully it cleared up some confusion about what's going on with my car. Oh, I forgot to mention also another reason why the 3.4JZ would be annoying on this car is because more power also equals more smoke, which means more tires, which means more expensive, which means less time driving because you're constantly changing tires, which means not fun, which means unhappy Adam, which means bad videos, which means dislikes, which means less cool cars, which means you guys are not stoked, which means less juice for Nicole, which means less giveaway. Oh yeah, we'll talk about the giveaway car. So there's been a lot of confusion. It's kind of funny because I kind of hyped it up, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done it so soon, but I was really excited. And now every time there's any car in any of our videos that fits the description of the giveaway car, the little description that I give you guys think that that's it. I tell you that you guys haven't seen it yet. It's been either hiding in the trailer or under a cover in the warehouse. I'm being very careful so none of you guys see it. I don't want to give away the surprise, but I'm trying to do everything super legit. I'm going through the same like legal people that Trevor went through for his giveaway. It's going to be structured very similarly, where like, let's say, I don't know, $5 on the LZ MFG site gets you an entry to win the car. I'm probably gonna keep it to a very short timeline though, because I'm not trying to like make a ton of money off the giveaway. I just really want to build the car so I can drive the car and I can teach other people to drive on the car. And I think it'll be really cool flying the winner out and having them learn how to drift on that car for a video, kind of finalizing the giveaway. So that is the rough tentative plan. Oh, I did want to apologize because originally I know I said that I wanted to start the first week of January, but I decided that it's probably more important to get the SR situated first. I'm also waiting on a couple parts for the car before I send it to paint, because I want to start the series once the car is already painted. Yes, we're painting it cream. It's going to be cool. It's going to be kind of like a replica of this car, but it's going to be very, very simple, very quick build, and something that anyone can replicate, go out, drive, and have fun, and not get sucked into a money pit of car where they wind up looking at it broken in their garage and tweeting sad faces of themselves while their friends go out driving and they cry themselves to sleep. Oh yeah, but going back to like the delayed timeline, I'm hoping to either maybe start it like at the end of January or early February. I just like, it's gonna be cool, but I don't want to take away from actual drifting for me or the other more important stuff. So basically, we're gonna have this car being rebuilt, getting it dialed in. We're also going to be totally unrelated on Friday, should be the final dyno of the BMW, and then I take it home and get to enjoy the car. We also have in the end of January that Rob Ferretti like racetrack showdown where it's like a half mile in Sebring and Daytona. Sorry, my phone wasn't ringing during this time like it did before. And I also still need to go visit my family and friends up north in Connecticut, which I'm trying to do after I finish the SR, because I want to get this done while Alberto's still in town. And I just don't want to overload myself, because I have a tendency to do that. And then I end up getting really stressed out and I tweet really dark things like, I hate pizza and coffee sucks. Anyway, if you listen to me ramble on for whatever this video was, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, I appreciate you watching the video, and maybe hit the like button if you enjoy pizza and coffee, or either. You don't have to have them at the same time or even like both of them. If you're stoked for the V2, or should I say V3 version of my SR setup, let me know. I'm very excited. I'm also going to try today maybe to hop on Twitch and do a little bit of VR streaming with the new Assetto Corsa virtual reality Oculus Rift headset. So I'll put that link in the description. That'll kind of be like a thank you for watching this video of me talking to the camera. I don't know. Maybe I won't even be able to figure it out. I'm pretty stupid when it comes to stuff like that. But I'm hoping I will, and I will see you guys tomorrow, and I appreciate you. And remember to never ever let your friends buy an SR, buy an S13, put an SR in an S13, rebuild an SR. SRs are terrible, bad, bad, place engines, but I love them. Disclaimer, they're really not that bad, and there's gonna be a lot of like angry Australians saying that, oh, SR is a great motor, because I don't know, I just figured they'll do that because they always get really mad when I talk badly about RB. So I'm sorry, guys in Australia. I appreciate you guys as fans too. Please don't hate me. I say a lot of jokes sometimes that aren't really funny. That's just my sense of humor. Bye.